Good morning, everyone. Today's Tuesday. It is February the 27th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and we are looking at the dailies on the E-Mini S&P. As you know, I believe the goal of the trader, the big, broad trader with the most money, is going to try to recover the 50 simple moving average as we have done in many times past, particularly over the last couple of months. And so I do expect upside pervasive buying, but I also expect inventory correction in the early part of the day, because that is what we have been seeing, inventory correction starting at about 8:40 or so Eastern time. And we'll see what happens. This is a little bit of a doji. We've got some wick action on both sides, higher lows, but also lower highs. So there's a significant pressure event. On top of that, the Keltner bands are a little bit downward sloping. So I do expect pressure above to come in from the sellers. So where do I see the go, no-go line today? It's going to be 60.31. Why am I choosing that one? One, it's the volume point of control. Two, it is right around the 50 simple moving average. You know, I could put a 3 in there, but I think that's good enough. All right, we have this Fibonacci measured, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse the direction from 2 days ago, because this essentially is still inside. And we're going to see what kinds of range expansions we might get if we break to the north. Now, there are a lot of people who want to be short. Sky is falling. Things are falling apart. Everybody's got to look on the dark side of whatever. And then there are those traders who are simply watching price that are saying, all right, I came into support. I held it. My higher level of support continues to grow. Today's support action is really going to be the low of the overnight at 59.59, 59.60. Now, if it gets there, we should see buyers come in for a bounce. If it fails, do not hold that trade and try to average in. Get out, take a quick haircut, and wait for the price action to stabilize, because if price action were actually bullish, we would not lose this level. Okay, so line for the traders trying to get above it, 60.30, 6,030 in the E-Mini S&P. Support range, 59.60. So that's about 70 points of motion. I expect a reversal formation setting up sometime around, I don't know, 8:30-ish Eastern. So we'll watch for that and just see what happens. Just be very careful. Right there, you can see from the 1 hour formation, we are moving upward. We've got a downward 50, right? We've got a 14. You know, Brian Shannon likes to use, what is this line here? Hang on 2 seconds. Let me see what I got. I got a 14 here, but let's see. We won't look at it on the intraday. It's going to be super messy. But if we go to the daily, since we are underneath this bounce event, we do have to recapture it. All right, but I think that that's what's going to happen. You can see the bullish pressure into resistance. So 60.30 is what we are looking at next. Let's take a look at the NQ. Same thing we discussed from days past. What are they trying to do? Recapture the 50, much further away from it. They also have a lot of open interest. Let me read this open interest level again, because I found it to be very surprising. 4,000 new contracts. I think that's bizarre, because the E-Minis only have 500 new contracts. And as we know, the minis have much greater volume than the E-Mini S&P has much greater volume than the NAS. So that's a lot of open interest. They're going to try and punch it up. We have seen inventory correction every single day this week. every day this week and last week. So we're going to watch price action potentially come into 21,440, 21,450. That is a gamma line, a region of significant support / resistance, whatever the case is. So what we want to do is watch for it to get into that area. I suspect there's going to be selling pressure there, but the selling pressure should easily bring us to a higher low. So what is that go, no-go line today? You know, I think maybe it's 21,100. That's the overnight area, pre-market low. So let's keep our eyes on that one. Actually, no. You know what? I think it's 21,130. If it loses that line, let it jockey around, and then once it turns back, then you can hop in long. Right now, if we just take a look at what's going on, it is clearly upward, right? Dips, look at how, remember we talked about this, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, we talked about this very nice and easy, hey, buy the dip, hey, buy the dip, hey, buy the dip. It is trying to move up into the liquidity areas near 21,420 and then 21,460. Pretty big levels. So let it go until it breaks. Notice what happened. Last couple of times we've gotten into this region, we have run right into sellers. And so they're going to be waiting up there again, right? Don't front run it. Wait until it gets there, and then you can collapse down to the 5-minute. And when you look at the 5-minute, you can go, oh, okay, I see it losing this level. I see I'm not able to break higher. I see I'm dipping below support. I see I'm bouncing to make a lower high. I know this is an area that I need to watch for, and you can see it. It's breaking through. Let it break through if you're looking for the short. If you're long, you know you better trim some gains right up here around the 400 area. Okay? All right, let's go to the YM. Excuse me, folks. Trying not to hack in your ears. Same sort of thing. Flat 50. Trying to get above it. You know, are we going to do it? Maybe. But we do see where the dip is, right? I'm going to reverse this so we can see the upside, provided it holds. The go, no-go line, 43,300. Now, we haven't tested that area yet, but it is a fair level of congestion. So it looks to me like the traders are trying to front run that 43,300 area. Did I just... Wow, I made a T sound like an F there with my voice. That's bizarre. Okay, so... I'm sorry, that just made me think of all kinds of comedy skits in my head. All right, what are we looking at? We've got downside momentum, pretty solid downside trend. So the bounces into the 50% area should bring us our first group of sellers who want to contest whether this price action can hold up. That's 43,975 here in the Dow. That's what we're staring down, right? Dips or buys, anywhere from 43,400 to 43,390. After that, step out of the way, let the price action stabilize. You can see the Keltner band is flat underneath and sharply down above. So there are sellers waiting up here, right? So don't be buying any breakouts is all I want to say, all right? Let's go to Bitcoin. Probably should have had some kind of recovery, but I don't know. Yes, there we go. Everybody and their grandmother, to include Adam's house cat, is trying to buy Bitcoin at 86,000. Here's the thing. Look at where the 50 is. Could we recover this 50? Absolutely we could. Is it likely that we recover the 50 anytime soon? Absolutely not. Now, why? Trend and momentum sharply down, right? Selling volume has been fairly dramatic. This is the point of control. Look at this vacuum of price. Right here, look at all these liquidity lines, 74, 72. 70. Value area low, 68. As you know, I expect crypto to come into the gap and break it, and then come back down into the space. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Would I be trading this long today? No. What I want to do is see the price action hold this formation. So where's the go, no-go line today? Listen, if it comes down into 82,000 and it holds, it tells us traders are going to be moving. If it gets into 90,000 and traders do not push it back down, it's got more room to the upside. But my suspicion is that selling pressure comes in at around 90,000 and we start building a brand new range here, filling in the volume profile overall. Right? Listen to a very interesting note on cryptos, and I think, sometimes you just have to look at price rather than saying, here's what we believe, because what we believe does not matter. Price is the only way we get paid, and we simply have got to obey what price is telling us. Liquidity line right there at 90,000. So that's a sell zone to me under this formation. Let's go to oil. That should have taken a little bit more of a bounce overnight. Little bit. Ooh, not much though. Have a gander, folks. Let's get all these lines out of here. We are back in the range of this big candlestick. Now, we have a range candlestick. See the high volume here? This is the Fibonacci we're going to draw. I'm going to draw the high volume Fibonacci. Could I draw this one all the way up here? I could, but it's further away and it's not going to matter as much. So have a gander, right? Here we are. This is 50% range. Old support. I wonder where have a gander came up. I have to look that up. So we had prior support, 68.42. What's been happening with price? Low, high, lower low, lower high. Test of a higher high, can't hold, lower low. Lower low, lower high. This could be a region where the price action is starting to stabilize. My suspicion is, could be. So what we want to see, take a look at where momentum is, folks. It's way down here. That means the bounces, especially with trending action, the bounces are going to give us sell zones. 70-30, that's my thought about the best selling pressure event comes at the $70 mark. Could you chase this up to that 70 from sitting at 69? Well, of course you could. If you went to the hourly chart, look at this 50. It is very negative, but the 5 just crossed over it. So could you take that trade? And what would your stop be? Absolutely, you could. You could take the breakaway if you like. Your stop, however, pretty wide. So you want to just run this up into yesterday's closing VWAP. That's 69.59, and let it come back and tell you that it's going to give you a higher low, right? If we were down here, we would notice 1, fails to close lower, 2, bounces into resistance, 3, pulls back and holds a higher low. That means this next candle is the buy zone. Bob's your uncle. You're into the liquidity area, probably 69.80. All right? But I would not be hanging on for any kind of big move. There's a lot of negative pressure showing up in oil. Let's take a look at gold. Big article came out that said, hey, central banks, particularly China, slowing up their role on buying of gold. Okay, so I have been in the market long enough to know a narrative gets pushed so that things can happen. So what's happening right now? We're having a liquidation event. It's not very big, right? But it is pretty important. What are they doing? I think they're trying to bring speculators. I think they're trying to suck speculators out of the market. And they're doing it just fine, right? Here is 29.64. That's clear resistance. Look at where the 50 is. Can you say holy smokes? I would love for this chart to come into 2750 because I would buy gold with both hands. So we'll see if it happens. Still here, still dip buying. 28.95 is the go, no go for longs today. If it can't hold that zone, it is going to head to 28.58, 28.22, and then, 2787, right? That's what I'm staring down. If you're saying to yourself, gosh, can I short gold? Only up at the top here. See this slope? There's a lot of power sitting here on the upside. So there are people that are still trying to buy the dip to keep it in this range. That's about 2 weeks wide, maybe even 3 weeks wide. Could be, but I think, they're going to continue to force the narrative of everybody's buying and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Everybody stopped buying, and so gold is going to pull in. All right, let's take a look at SPY. Price action still pretty bouncy. Pardon me, folks. Gosh, that is just gross. My apologies. All right. So here we are. What are we trying to do? Recapture the 50. Where are we? At the 50. Big, big deal today. The question is, who's going to come in and try to liquidate after this bounce at the 600 area? That's going to be the go, no-go line today. We get above 600 and you're thinking about shorting, get out the way. Okay? Get out of the way. If it pops up and then loses 600, I think you've got shorting opportunity into a higher low at around 592. Right? If we continue to collapse down and we get to 592 even, you could try along there. If it does not immediately respond, get out. Price is telling you it doesn't want to move. Okay? That's simply what's happening. Let's go to the Qs. Oh, by the way, I'll be on Top Step TV today from 10:30 to 12. I don't know. They've got the schedule all weird these days. But let's remove all the annotations here. Make sure we're looking at the right one. But yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Okay, that's on YouTube. So what do we have here? Same thing. Trying to get above the 50. Inside candlestick formation. So that's what we got to measure. Can we hold the 515 area? See the low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Looks like a bounce action event, right? 517 is where the buyers are going to stay most aggressive, and then they're sort of going to try and dabble if it comes into 511 or so. So be careful here, making sure that your dip buying is clearly bounded by risk, okay? Because if it loses it, it could be ugly, right? Everyone expects this to bounce, and I do too, right? What we've had is liquidation and inventory correction prior to the open, creating wicks in the price action, right? This morning, negative 50, positive to yucky for the 5 and the VWAP, but holding, right? And I moved it to the 5 because, Brian Shannon uses it, and I just want to see how well it works on these hourly charts. It's very tight, so makes me a little nervous, but I think it might have some measure of importance that we can use on the hourly. He hates the hourly candlestick, by the way. Not his thing. He hates it. But we use it, and so we'll see if we can sort of find the way, because this looks quite nice. Problem is, we've got exit liquidity up above us at 520. So we want to be very careful as we push forward. Okay, folks, that's it for me. I'll see you in the streams. Take care.